Man, you've been working your ass off. You read the books, you watch the videos, you hired a coach or a therapist, you started going to the gym, you stopped being needy. You even stopped chasing her as much and texting her all the time. And she doesn't even seem to notice. So you think to yourself, maybe I should just tell her. Maybe I should point out all these changes that I've made for her. Yeah, I'd do that if you want the fastest way to destroy every ounce of progress that you've made so far. Listen, after working with thousands of men over the last decade as a licensed therapist, I've discovered something that is counterintuitive. The harder that you try to make her see your changes, the less that she will believe them. The more you try to convince her and just show her and prove to her that you're this new guy that I know you are becoming, the less attracted that she will become. Because here's the thing that actually gets her to notice your changes and come back. I want you to imagine 3 months from now, okay? She just looks at you with that look. You know the one, right? Where her eyes soften. She tilts her head slightly. She smiles. She says something like, I don't know what's different about you, but something is, and I love it. That moment, it's not an accident. It's going to be the result of watching this video and understanding one critical truth about female psychology that most may completely miss. So stick with me because I'm about to reveal why proving your changes kills your chances with her. I'm going to show you the 4 principles of silent transformation that actually work and the brutal 60-day timeline that separates the men who win versus the men who quit. But first, you have to understand the single biggest mistake that is sabotaging your comeback right now. Here's why announcing your changes destroys everything. When you tell her that you're changing, you're actually proving to her that you haven't changed at all. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say you joined our program by clicking the link down below, setting up a call, and getting in the program. Let's say you're in it for about 2 weeks. You read one of our core books, which is No More Mr. Nice Guy, okay? You had a breakthrough where you finally understood that you've been seeking her validation through all these subtle ways that you weren't even aware of. So you're super excited. You feel differently. You had this light bulb moment and you're looking back at all the things you know you're going to stop doing these things and that you are a new man. Let's say you have dinner with her and say something like, honey, I know I've been too needy. I've been working with a coach and I'm really changing. I just want you to know because I'm being a better man. You sit there and wait for her response. She doesn't even look at you and she says, well, that's nice, and goes back to her phone and eating. Maybe she even rolls her eyes and maybe she says something like, yeah, I've heard that before. Now, why does this moment happen? Well, there are 2 reasons why. The first one is subtle supplication. There's a quote from Frank Lucas that says, the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. Now, women have this God-sent ability to sense value in a man, okay? They sense neediness, which is also low value. Now, the definition of supplication, it's a plea made from humility or desperation. To use an extreme example to prove the point, your ego, right, your sense of self, thinks that if you convince her that your perspective is right, that then she will agree with you and then there will be a cohesion, okay? She will see what I see and then we will have this peace and harmony. However, the more you try to convince, the more she thinks you haven't changed. Now let's look at the other side of this coin. Imagine you said something like this, honey, I realize that I've dropped the ball so much over the years. I've gotten lazy and have taken you for granted. I focus too much on work and not enough on what matters most. And honestly, I am shocked that you haven't tried to leave me earlier. Now, part of you is afraid that if you were to say that to her, that she would say something like, see, I knew it. I was right all along. Because you agree with me, now I'm going to leave. No, man, because she already thinks that. Okay, whether you agree with her or not, that is how she thinks. So by showing that you understand her perspective and even agree with it, it shows that you have empathy and understanding and therefore connection with her pain. And therefore, she's actually realizing that you have changed. Okay? Do you understand the counterintuitive nature of that? Think of how that really makes sense. So going back to the idea of supplication, what does this look like? Notice my energy here, okay? Yeah, honey, I can be a selfish, stubborn son of a bitch sometimes, and I can also be lazy too. Saying that and owning your faults is far more valuable than if you stop trying to prove yourself to her, okay? And you let your actions speak for themselves. And honestly, when it comes down to it, your ego, the way you protect yourself, is actually the thing that pushes her away the most. But however, if you open yourself up and go against what all your emotions are telling you to do, that's what's showing change to her, which is equated to getting a different result. The second part of this is the silent transformation protocol. The problem here is that most men think that within 3 weeks or a couple of months that it should override 30, 20, whatever, how many years of marriage. Right now, your wife has built up years, maybe even decades of negative emotional experiences on her tipping scale. I'll show you that in a second. Think of every fight, every disappointment, every time that you failed a test, every moment you showed up weak instead of strong, which means you're reactive instead of stable. All of that is stored on this negative side of the scale, okay? Now, the reason why this matters so much is that when she looks at you, she's not seeing who you are today, okay? She is seeing a composite image of who you've been the past 5, 10, 15 years. And when she's in the negative side of the scale, her emotions are filtered. Let me show you. When most men come to us, they're like, Josh, I don't get it. I didn't cheat, right? I didn't abuse her, right? I didn't do all these massive negative things, so why is she leaving me? It's like, yeah, dude, it wasn't this massive betrayal. It was all the little moments over time, just compiled, just like little by little until eventually, well, I said this was the negative side, so until eventually she goes into negative sentiment. Now look, negative sentiment is much like when she puts these red glasses on, right? And all she could see is that the past is all negative. She can't remember the positive memories. She sees you as the villain. She's saying things that like just don't line up with your reality. But you have to understand that her feelings dictate her memory. Her feelings dictate the way she literally sees you. I've heard women say that they will look at their ex that they used to be so sexually attracted to and they get disgusted by him. He didn't change the way he looked. Maybe he even lost weight and looks better. But because she sees through this negative lens, it doesn't matter what he does or says. Her emotions are dictating her perception. And so the solution here, which I'm going to help you with, is to slowly put the investment back on the other side. So she puts back on these positive glasses and literally she will come back and she'll say things like, I'm so sorry I even questioned the marriage. Oh, I've noticed your changes. I've always loved you. I always wanted to give you a chance. This seems so illogical to so many men, but this is the way her brain works, especially in the context of a loving relationship. So what are some of the positive actions that you can actually take to get her to see the positive perspective of you again? Well, this is what our program does through the emotional reset method, is that when we get on a call with you, based on your situation, your history, all the things that caused her to have these negative sides of the investment, there are antithetical actions that you could take to show her your changes. So if you want to get on a free strategy call with our marriage evaluation team to really outline what actions you could take to win her back, click the link down below. Just make sure you're fully invested and ready to take that call and do something different, okay? But let's go over some of these actions. Every time you pass her test, that is a deposit. Every time you leave without seeking permission, that's a deposit. Every time you stay calm when she's emotional and you bring her back to stability, that is a deposit. Every time you pursue your purpose and choose values, even if it upsets her, instead of chasing her validation, that is a deposit. Now look, we have guys that save their marriage in the first 28 days, sometimes 45. But for most guys, significant results don't start popping in until around day 60 to 90. And that's because she's fighting against years, sometimes decades. You have to recognize that timeline. But by day 90, if you stay consistent with this for 3 months, you'll start to see signs of hope and progress with her that'll keep you forward for the continuing months and weeks to make sure that she does come back. Now, I want to do a little bit of rant on testing and why she does it. Because the biggest mistake that men make is that they think their wife tests because she's immature. But like, for you to think that you're immature if you got upset at your wife for gaining 100 pounds or getting super mean and abusive to you, for lowering her value to you. So a woman tests because it is a subconscious survival mechanism to make sure that you are the guy that can protect her, that you are still that man, okay? And you should look at these tests as opportunities for growth and connection. Now, I'm going to tell you how to go over a whole framework of tests at the end of this video for a free resource, so make sure you stay tuned to that. Now, the fourth principle here is to focus on the self, not her responses. Let's go over some fundamental dogmatic truths, okay? The first truth is that your beliefs create your reality. Here's an example in relation to money. If you think money is hard to make, then you're going to go about being a victim. You're going to think that you can't attract money, that you have to grind to get the money, and therefore it's going to be really hard for you to make money, okay? I've seen people who are stuck in poverty, and the way they view money is that it's evil, that people who make a lot of money are evil, and so they're naturally reflecting a repulsion from the energy of money. And then all my friends that are much more wealthier than I am, a lot more rich, a lot more successful, they have very positive beliefs about money. Money comes and goes. Money's easy to make. Oh, you can make loads of money. They're all very rich and very successful men, and their beliefs around money are all consistent. It's actually pretty interesting. I was out a couple weekends ago, and I met this person who was very, very politically active and went against a lot of my views, and she hated men. Okay, one of those types. God bless her soul, seriously. But I wanted to have a conversation with her, and I don't know, I just really like to pick the brain of people that have completely opposed worldview of me. And she was saying how men are all awful, all this stuff. And of course, she was single and she struggled with dating. She said, San Diego's the worst place to date. And I hear this all the time from women that are really struggling to date, okay? And I asked her, I said, I got her to like me, right? Because I'm really good at that. And I go, do you think at all that your thoughts you have and the beliefs you have kind of dictate and influence the results you're kind of getting in life? She looked at me dead in the eye and said, no. And this is someone who I feel really sorry for, because that is complete victim narrative. And one of the things that I will promote to the end of time that is our complete villain on this channel is someone who doesn't take full responsibility for their lot in life. That their beliefs and thoughts and actions and emotions don't influence their results. They 100% do. And it is no different for you and your beliefs with your wife and your marriage and yourself. So the second truth is that focusing on her puts pressure on her and causes her to want to move away from you. Again, this is one of those counterintuitive things, but the more you try to get her back, the more you put pressure on the outcome, she feels that, and then she rejects the outcome that you are seeking. Let's use a smaller example to prove the point here. Let's look at the idea of sex. Let's say with sex, for a whole week, you're like, oh, we haven't had sex in a while. I really want to have sex with you. Come on, let's just do it. You're putting all this pressure on her. Her nervous system can't relax and get in the moment with you. And therefore, she would have to have sex out of obligation. And even if she did, it would be horrible for her. Okay? What's the opposite of that? It's I desire you, but I don't need you. There is a sense of safety and ease and flow where she feels desired, because a woman wants to feel desired, but she feels that you won't get upset or leave her or get mad at her or pressure her or do any of the stuff to make her nervous system go haywire. That is the optimum form of her wanting to connect with you on a physical level. The same thing happens on the whole macro scale of the relationship. That of course she knows you desire. She knows you want to be with her, but there's no pressure to do so. And it's her timeline. And so paradoxically, she's more likely to come back faster. Now, so looking at these two first dogmatic truths, the third truth is that if you have a belief that your own individual progress as a man is the most important thing, not getting her back, that will be the one thing that actually gets her back the most. So if we look at a box here, if you are her focused, this means that you are not in the present moment with her when you're speaking with her. You're trying to get somewhere else with her, and she feels that disconnect. When you are focused on yourself, when you're in conversation with her, you are in the flow state, you're in the present moment, and that creates this fun flow in conversation with her. If you are her focused in conversation, you are always trying to take value. She feels the neediness, the taking of her. When you are you focused on your own goals, your own growth, and you speak about those from a place of authority and self-love and self-value and confidence, and she responds with attraction. When you are her focused, it adds stress and pressure to her. When you are you focused, it adds peace and fun. When you are her focused, you are at the effect of her emotions. And if her emotions are always swinging back and forth because she is a woman and she has her range of emotions, you will be like a leaf in the wind as well, and you'll be reactive, and that is not stable for her. If you are you focused, it doesn't matter what her reactions are, because you are having constant growth yourself, and she notices that. Now look, I know in my titles and all this stuff, I talk about winning your wife back. And we have hundreds of guys who have won their wife back. The secret to winning your wife back is focusing on yourself. After we sell guys into the program, we get them in the program, this is the first thing we resell them on, is that this program is about yourself. I'm letting you behind the closed doors. I'm telling you the secret. I'm revealing the curtain, okay? Then when you can stop focusing on winning her back, stop proving your changes. It is counterintuitive. But when you stop focusing on her, you focus on your own goals. You find who you are again, that man that she fell in love with that didn't need her. You get into your own energy. There will be a moment, mark my words, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 2 months from now, where you're going to have a day where you're just going to have the best day ever. You're going to connect with friends. You're going to crush these goals. Maybe get a promotion. Opportunities are going to come in. And it's going to be the first day where you don't really think about her that much. Guess what's going to happen? She is going to reach out to you. She's going to check in on you. It may be for an innocuous reason, which means it doesn't seem it's about you guys. Or maybe straight up she's saying, hey, we haven't talked in a while. I want to get back with you. Let's go on a date. Let's go do this thing that you wanted to do. Okay. I've seen it not only personally in my life multiple times, but with hundreds and hundreds of men. Okay. So as hard as it is, that is the path. And if you need support and you want speed to get there, that's why you can set up a call with our team and we can help you to do so. Here's that testing resource video that I would love for you to watch to get more frameworks on how to pass all of our tests. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.